Got a question from the ExpressionMed community. They want to know, how did diabetes affect my experience as an NFL player? Well, when I was playing, didn't have the technology back then that makes things a lot easier for all of us, especially myself living during this time of day. CGM, the pumps at the time were still, with the tubes. Playing offensive line, I would have beat it up big time. Y'all know how much pumps are right now. Definitely couldn't afford to do that. So had to take shots the whole time, and it definitely changed how I played the game. Also too, at that point, I was still learning about it. I was diagnosed in 2003 and learned very slowly that adrenaline affected my blood sugars. So I took on an average of 8 to 10 shots a game. I checked my blood sugar 8 to 10 times a game. So what you see going on during the NFL game, there were a lot of things going on the sideline for me in particular. Had at least 1 to 2 trainers helping me check my blood sugars, probably one squeezing my forearm while cleaning it off with alcohol swab and trying to get blood to come out to go on to the test strip for big sweaty arm. And that was very challenging in itself. And I did that often. Constantly squeezing glucose gels and tabs and eating them as I'm running out in the field with my helmet. It was a challenge. And it was mentally draining because you had to learn to deal with the plays, what was going on, the ebbs and flows of the game, along with trying to manage blood sugar. It was plenty of times where I was high. I honestly can tell you, I never played a game feeling perfect. It was constantly fighting the roller coaster ride of living with diabetes. And so it was definitely a challenge for me individually. But I learned how to fight through it just from some of my other teammates who were dealing with epilepsy and dealing with asthma during my time with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it really was a tough challenge. I think nowadays, with the technology and the things that I've learned, I could have managed my games better, went into the games better prepared. So the one thing that I fought that I could tell a lot of young athletes right now, I don't know if you've ever been told this, do whatever you can to keep your blood sugar below 180. And this might have changed, but my doctor told me this. It's just like a car engine stalling out. The longer you keep your foot on the gas and trying to get it to go as fast as possible, and the engine is revved up extremely high, it's gonna give out at some point. It can't hold that forever. So you have to try to maintain and keep it at a steady RPM. And so he always told me, keep it below 180. The higher it gets, it's like you've been out there with one arm tied behind your back. And that was the one rule that I always paid attention to. And I could tell once it was getting to that point and above, because my focus was very short. I'd lose out on that, forgetting plays, having a hard time seeing things that I saw on film and recognizing them. So it affected my play. But I can honestly tell you, I wouldn't change anything about it. So I know that might be a long answer, but that was my experience overall living with diabetes as an NFL player back in that time from 2002, well actually 2003 to 2010. Just a constant check-in during the games. Blood sugars would be fine during the week. But when the game time comes, pressure picks up, anxiety, the stress of the game, the weight of the game, depending on if it's playoff or not, definitely had an effect on the blood sugar. One question I've been asked before is, what was your blood sugars during the Super Bowl? I had the opportunity to win 2 Super Bowls with the Steelers. Man, I wish I would have kept record of that and just compared it to the rest of them. That would be amazing to find out. But I honestly don't know.